Athena's origin is a real head-scratcher. Born fully armed from Zeus's noggin, she's the ultimate daddy's girl. No baby rattles for her, just straight to battle helmets and strategy. Talk about a dramatic entrance into the world of gods. So Zeus, the big boss of gods, gets googly-eyed over Metis, the smarty-pants goddess. Metis, trying to dodge Zeus's wooing, pulls off a shape-shifting magic show, turning into all sorts of animals. But guess what? Zeus is a persistent guy. He finally catches her, they get hitched, and soon Metis is expecting a mini-god or goddess. But hold on, there's a twist. The Oracle, kind of a mystical spoiler alert machine, says Metis will have 2 kids. The first, a girl, will be as tough and brainy as Dad. The second, a boy, will be Mr. Tougher than Dad and might just kick Zeus off his throne. Zeus, who isn't keen on family drama, he's seen it before with his dad and granddad getting booted by their kids, goes into panic mode. In a bizarre plot twist, Zeus turns Metis into a water drop and gulps her down. Talk about a weird way to avoid fatherhood. Post-swallowing, Zeus starts showing off Metis's smarts. But then, he's hit with killer headaches, making his head swell like a balloon. Desperate, he asks Hephaestus, the divine handyman, to crack open his noggin. Out pops Athena, in full battle gear, all grown up from the get-go. Zeus is over the moon with his brainchild, who's a chip off the old block in wisdom, and she's set to be the brainy war goddess. She's the apple of Zeus's eye, and everyone thinks she's the next big thing after Zeus. As for Metis, she's still chilling inside Zeus, which means no baby brother to worry about. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and strategy, steps up as a role model for fairness, courage, and brains. She's pretty much Zeus's pride and joy, and the talk of the divine town as the likely successor to her dad. In a part of ancient Greece now known as Attica, there was a city called Cecropia. The boss of this place, Cecrops, a half-snake, half-man, talk about having a split personality. Under his rule, Cecropia was thriving. It was close to the sea, so naturally everyone was a big fan of Poseidon, the god of the sea. Poseidon, feeling a bit left out, decided he wanted a city to brag about. So he shows up in Cecropia and says, "Hey, let's rename this place Poseidonia, in honor of yours truly. You'll rule the seas and I'll be over the moon." He then strikes the ground with his trident, and voila, a saltwater spring. "Kneel here before sailing. It's like your ancient GPS for safe sea travels," he announced. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and DIY projects, pops in. She's also on the hunt for a city fan club. She tells the starstruck crowd, "Choose me, and this place will be a hotspot for beauty, brains, and the arts. Plus, science will be your new best friend." She pokes the ground with her spear, and surprise, a stunning olive tree springs up. This tree is your new survival kit. Tasty snacks from the fruit and olive oil for your lamps and cooking. Handy, right? Now the citizens are in a pickle. They've got to pick a patron deity, and it's like choosing between free Netflix or free pizza for life. The men who were buddies with the sea were all in for Team Poseidon. The women, more into land-based activities, were Team Athena. And guess what? There were more women in the city, so Athena should have won by popular vote. But when the results didn't go her way, Athena was fuming. She was not in the mood for second place. Meanwhile, Poseidon is waiting with a saltwater spring that's practically useless for watering plants or making a decent cup of tea. And Athena's got this olive tree, a one-tree wonder for food, light, and warmth. The city's folks are now scratching their heads. What to do when you've got gods giving you the cold shoulder? So, the debate heats up. The men argue, "We need Poseidon for our fishing trips and sea voyages." The women counter, "But what about food and warmth? Athena's olive tree is the real MVP here." The goddess was not happy with her second place, so she came up with a crazy proposal. "All right, let's settle this the old-fashioned way, a good old godly duel." Poseidon, big and mighty as he was, thought he'd easily outmuscle Athena. But Athena, cool as a cucumber, was ready to rumble. Just as they were about to get their clash on, Zeus, the top dog of gods, steps in. "Hold your horses. Let's take this to the godly jury up on Mount Olympus and let them sort it out." So, up on Mount Olympus, it was like a divine court show. Zeus played the judge, and the gods had to vote. It turned into a bit of a boys versus girls situation. All the guy gods voted for Poseidon, and the lady gods were Team Athena. Zeus decided to sit this one out, and by a hair, Athena wins. Back in the city, now called Athens in honor of the victor, they built a swanky temple for Athena right on the Acropolis. It was all great, except Poseidon was throwing a cosmic-sized tantrum. He was so miffed that the Athenians were pretty much banned from the sea. The Athenians, in a pickle, went to the Oracle of Delphi for some heavenly advice. The Oracle was like, "You've got to make amends with Poseidon, or he'll keep giving you the cold shoulder." So, the women of Athens, who had been cheering for Athena, had to say sorry, and, bummer alert, they lost their voting rights. To smooth things over, the Athenians built another fancy temple, this time for Poseidon at Cape Sunion. Poseidon, feeling a bit better, decided to let bygones be bygones and let the Athenians back in his watery domain. And that's how Athens became the big deal it was. All thanks to a goddess, a grumpy sea god, and a divine voting drama. Medusa, known for her snake-infested hairdo, wasn't always the hissy-missy we know from Greek myths. Originally, she was Seto's daughter, a sea deity's kid with stunning looks. Wherever she went, hearts fluttered and jaws dropped. Despite being a real head-turner, Medusa was all about that pure life. Big fan of the goddess Athena, she signed up to be a priestess in Athena's temple, where keeping it classy was the name of the game. Medusa was nailing her priestess gig, maybe a bit too well. Her beauty was bringing in crowds to the temple like she was a rock star. This, of course, didn't sit well with Athena, who was used to being the top beauty in Greece. Then, one day, someone had the guts to say Medusa's hair was nicer than Athena's. Ouch! Athena was hurt but didn't flip out. Meanwhile, Poseidon, the sea god and not the nicest guy in Olympus, spots Medusa and goes, "Wow!" He tries his best moves, but Medusa isn't interested. For Poseidon, winning over Athena's priestess becomes a bit of an obsession, thanks to his beef with Athena. When Poseidon's charm offensive fails, he takes a dark turn and forces himself on Medusa in Athena's temple. Medusa, in a panic, runs to the temple for help, but Poseidon follows and commits a terrible act right in front of Athena's statue. After this, Athena shows up fuming but, for some odd reason, decides to punish Medusa instead of Poseidon. Athena's logic? Medusa seduced Poseidon and dishonored the temple, so she turns Medusa's lovely locks into a nest of snakes. Now anyone who locks eyes with Medusa turns to stone. Talk about a bad hair day. Medusa becomes this fearsome creature everyone's scared of, turning would-be heroes into stone statues. But the hero Perseus, armed with a mirror and some serious guts, manages to chop off her head. Little did anyone know, Medusa was pregnant with Poseidon's child. From her blood, out popped Chrysaor the giant and Pegasus, the famous flying horse. So, in a twisted way, Medusa's legacy lived on, part snake hair horror, part mythical creature mom. In the city of Sullivan, Lydia, there was this young lady named Arachne. She was a weaver's daughter and picked up weaving like a duck takes to water. As time flew by, Arachne's skills got so good that people started saying her embroidery could give the fanciest art a run for its money. Her work became the talk of the town, and even high-flying nobles from far-off places were placing orders. Her fame reached such heights that even the forest nymphs came by to check out her handiwork. They were all like, "Wow, your embroidery must be a gift from Athena, the weaving whiz." But Arachne, not one to mince words, replied, "Nah, this is all me. I might even be better than Athena herself." This bold claim buzzed up to Olympus, and Athena, hearing someone was stepping on her divine toes, decided to see for herself. Disguised as an old lady, classic god move, she checked out Arachne's studio and had to admit the girl had serious talent. Athena, trying to be the voice of reason, said, "You're great, but let's not get carried away. You might be the bee's knees among humans, but saying you're better than a goddess, that's pushing it." Arachne, ever so confident, was like, "I'm not bragging if it's true. Let's have a weave-off and see who's really the best." So, the stage was set. Athena versus Arachne in an epic weaving showdown, with the nymphs as judges. Athena weaved a self-portrait of her winning Athens from Poseidon, while Arachne chose a sassier route, embroidering the tale of Zeus tricking Princess Europa as a white bull. It was her way of throwing shade at the gods and their shenanigans. Despite the jab at the gods in her work, Arachne's embroidery was a knockout, even better than Athena's. Athena, seeing the masterpiece and the dig at the gods, lost her cool. She trashed Arachne's work, gave her a tap on the head with a weaving needle, and cursed her, "From now on, you're going to be a creepy crawler, and so will your kids." Arachne turned into a spider, but guess what? She kept on weaving, and with 8 legs, she was now even more of a weaving wizard. Athena, seeing her new creations, had to admit, darn, she's still got it. And that's the tale of how a mortal girl's weaving skills not only wowed everyone, but also gave a goddess a run for her money. If you enjoyed these divine tales, smash that like button, hit subscribe for more godly gossip, and drop a comment with your favorite myth. Stay tuned for more epic stories.